Okay, to begin making our little bandana headband, you're going to need 3 granny squares, and then we're going to need to make 3 half granny squares. They're gonna look like this. They're like gonna be granny squares in half. And I'll show you how to make that in this video, but I already have a tutorial on my channel on how to make just a simple plain granny square. So if you don't know how to make a granny square, you can go ahead and watch that video. It'll be in the description, and then also it'll be like in the icon right here. So go watch that, and then go ahead and make 3 granny squares and have fun with the colors and stuff. Since I already have my 3 plain granny squares, we're gonna set those aside, and then we're going to make 3 half granny squares. And I'm gonna show you how to do that in this video. So with my first color of yarn, we're going to start by making a slip knot. And to do that, you're gonna take the tail end of your yarn, and you're gonna cross it over your long strand. Then you're gonna stick your fingers through the loop, and then you're going to grab that long string, hold the 2 tails, and then pull that loop tight. Just like that. You can go ahead and place that on your hook, and then whenever you pull on your long strand, it should tighten your loop. Now we're going to start by chaining 4. So we're going to yarn over and then pull through. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So after the 4 chains, let's go ahead and do a double crochet in this first chain. So yarning over, inserting my hook, yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So that was going to be your first double crochet. Let's go ahead and do another one. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So there's our second double crochet. Let's go ahead and do one more for a total of 3 double crochets. So now we've made our first cluster, and a cluster is going to consist of 3 double crochets. Go ahead and chain 2, 1 and 2, and in that same space that we're working our double crochets into, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do 3 more double crochets. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Let's do 2 more double crochets. Now we've done like our second cluster. Go ahead and chain 2, and then we're going to do 1 more double crochet in this same space. Just like that. And now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my next color. You can go ahead and cut off your yarn, and then grabbing my next color. And then to change colors, what you're going to do is you're going to remove your hook, and then you're going to place it into those last 2 loops. Those are the last 2 loops that we just went through our last double crochet. And then we're going to grab our yarn, place it on your hook, and you're going to pull up that second color. So as you can see, we still have that brown loop. I'm just going to take that loop and I'm just going to pull it through to fasten off that color. Make sure it's all tight. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot with those 2 colors just to secure that in place before I come back and sew it in. That should be pretty good. And from here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn our work. And in this first space, we're going to do 3 double crochets. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. So let's go ahead and do 2 more double crochets. In the next space right here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do 3 double crochets. And then chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets in that same space. And then in this space right here, we're going to do 3 double crochets, skipping those first 3 double crochets and then just working in that space right here. And then go ahead and chain 2. And then again in that same space, we're going to do 1 double crochet, and that will be the end of this purple round. We can go ahead and switch colors now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off this purple yarn. I'm going to go ahead and remove my hook and then insert it through the 2 loops that we just went through. And then I'm going to go ahead and just pull out that piece of yarn. So that way that one's already fastened off, and then go ahead and grab your new color. We're going to pull that through, and then we're going to chain 4. I'm gonna go ahead and tie these two colors into a knot, just like I did when last time I changed colors. And now we begin with our third row. So again, we're gonna turn our work, and in this first space, we're gonna do our 3 double crochets. And then in this next space right here, we're gonna do 3 double crochets again. And each row is going to be kind of the same thing, just slightly different with the amount of clusters we're doing. And every single time we make it to this middle space, we're going to do the 2 clusters in. So that's our next one. So go ahead and do 3 double crochets. And then chain 2. And then 3 more double crochets in that same space. And then this next space, we're just going to do 1 cluster. And then this last space right here, we're going to do another cluster, but then we're also going to do 2 chains, and then 1 more double crochet. And now we're done with our third round. You can go ahead and trim off your color, and then I'm going to insert my hook through those last 2 loops. Like this. I'm gonna pull out that pink strand, and then I'm gonna go ahead and grab my last color. For the last round, I'm gonna do white as well to match the other granny squares I made. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that through, just like I did in my last rounds. And then chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then again, I'm gonna go ahead and tie the 2 strands together just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and turn our work, and we're going to be doing the same thing. In this first space, we'll do 3 double crochets. The second one, we'll do 3 double crochets. This third space, we'll do 3 double crochets. And then again, in that middle space, we'll do the 2 clusters separated by 2 chains. Okay, just finished the 2 clusters in that top space. The next 2 spaces, we'll just do 1 cluster in each, and then in this last space, we're going to do 1 cluster and then chain 2 plus that last double crochet, just like we've been doing. Okay, and just like that, we're now finished with our half of a granny square. I'm going to go ahead and trim off this white piece and just pull my hook through to fasten off the last string. And that's how you're gonna make your half granny squares. And then we're just gonna have to sew in all of these ends, and you're gonna need 3 of these halves. Let me show you how it's gonna be. This is where the half granny squares are gonna go. We're gonna need 1 more in this corner and then this corner. So you're gonna need a total of 3 granny squares, full granny squares, and then 3 half granny squares. So I'm gonna go ahead and make 2 more off camera, and I'll come back when I have all these ready. And also I'm gonna sew in these ends. Okay, I just finished making my 3 half granny squares, and then I also sewed in all the ends. 3 half granny squares, we're going to go like this, and then your other 3 granny squares are gonna go like this to make your little triangle. And now we're gonna sew everything together. So I'm gonna start with this back one right here, and then I'm gonna sew this together. It doesn't really matter how you sew this together, just as long as it goes together like this. So you can choose any 2 squares, but I'm gonna do these 2 right here first. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of my cream yarn. I'm just gonna cut, actually I'm gonna cut a pretty long string. As you can see, it's pretty long, so this should work. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take out one of my yarn needles. I'm going to put my yarn through my little needle. And then I'm putting both these squares together like this. And then as you can see, you have your little stitches on top, right here and then right here. So starting in the corner, you should have the 2 chains, and then you're just going to go through that front loop of that first chain, and then you're going to go through the back loop of your second square, because we're going to do an invisible stitch almost. So it should look like this. And then you're just going to pull your yarn through, and then I'm going to tie a knot here to secure this in place. And then we can begin sewing up the rest of it. And when I'm sewing this in place, I want to make sure that I have all these stitches lined up So for example, we tied like that first knot through that first chain in that same space, and then this next one we're going to do like this double crochet. You're going to go through the front loop and then the back loop of that same stitch on that other one. So that way everything's even whenever you sew it together. I'm just going to pull that through just like that, and then I'm going to go towards me, going through the back and then that front loop, and then we're going to go the opposite way just like that. I'm going to go towards me and then away, and then we're just going to do that till we sew together these two pieces. And then we just sew together a little area. When you flip it around, you should have a really nice seam right here too. Okay, and once you've sewn together your bandana, we can then work on our little straps. So you're first going to take your yarn, and then you're going to make a slip knot, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to chain as many as you want. I think I ended up doing about 30 chains, but you can make it as long or as short as you want. This is going to go on the edge of the bandana, making like the strap. And then once you finish with however many chains you do, you then want to go ahead and you're going to attach it to the corner of your bandana. And I just inserted my hook through that space, as you can see, and then I just did a single crochet in there just to attach it. And then you want to go ahead and you're going to do single crochets all the way down the bandana. In each of these spaces, as you can see that I'm working in, I did 2 single crochets in each one. So I just did that all the way till I made it to the end of the bandana. And then once I made it to the end, I went ahead and did as many chains as I started with when we first attached our first strap. And since I did 30, I went ahead and I did 31 chains. So you're just going to do the same amount of chains, just add 1. And then you're going to go in the second chain from your hook, and you're going to do single crochets in each of those chains till you make it back to the corner of the bandana. Once you make it back to the bandana, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in each of your single crochet stitches that we just made. And you're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way till you make it to the first strap that you made. And then in all of those chains, you're going to do 1 single crochet. And once you make it to the end of that, you should be done. And it should look something like this. And then of course I went ahead and sewed in my ends. And here's the finished bandana. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, give this video a like. And also if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!